The summer I turned 25, I killed my co-host. Any last words, David?
It's all because I was cheating on you with another podcast, huh?
Ugh. I was hoping you wouldn't bring it up on the show, but I guess we have to air out our dirty laundry right now.
That's right. The other podcast is called
David's Transit Takes.
Ooh, I actually really like that. You see, that's a podcast that we'd make together, though. So
that is true. Yeah. I know. I have to entice you back so you don't cheat on me again.
So now we cheat on this podcast together by making that other podcast. Yeah.
And I didn't kill you because of the voodoo doll. I just want to make that clear.
That's my secret.
Hello and welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture Podcast. I'm your co-host, Brandon, and with me, as always, is your other co-host,
David, and I just finished playing with my Brandon voodoo doll.
I'm feeling it over here, let me tell you.
Oh God, I just realized what that sounds like.
We got a great episode for you today. We are talking about the American South, which is a place that both David and I have been, I believe.
That is true. Before I for some reason thought that Texas wasn't part of the South, even though I feel like it's debatable for some people, but I think Dallas counts.
Dallas is like Great Plains South. So I don't know. It's
like
counts.
In between.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's very weird. What a strange liminal space of a city. But we're not talking about Dallas today. We're talking about Louisiana and we're talking about Alabama.
That's right.
Two places that neither of us have been. So this will be exciting. And we are going to be passing along a lot of judgments about both of these places today.
That's right.
If I have anything to say about it. But before all of that, I do have to ask David the eternal question. What did you watch in this past week? And was it Minions and Monsters as promised last episode?
I fulfilled my promise.
Nice.
I knew I had to go and watch it. Not only because of the podcast, but also because I did draft it in our fantasy box office draft. I had to go and support myself. And I did. And Jennifer came and supported me too. Honestly, she was the one driving it. And I did mention Jennifer first, and I will mention Armenia first.
Shout out Armenia.
I said it first, bitch.
God damn it.
And this is the first time I said it first in 3 months. But anyways.
This might be the first time this season.
Honestly, probably. Man. Okay, I finally got in there. I can continue. I can stay strong.
That is painful on my end. I think that still is the most painful thing to do on the podcast.
You can suffer a little. I've been suffering for the past 20 months because of you saying that, even though the podcast hasn't even been going for 20 months, has it?
I don't know.
16,
probably,
17.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I guess that just means you have more suffering in your future as well, which is good for me, I guess.
Oh, wait, what? Hey.
3 more months of suffering.
Wait a minute.
4 more months, maybe even. Anyway, how was Minions and Monsters?
God damn it. It was enjoyable. It was fun. I don't expect much from it, and it delivered on what it promised. So I had a fun time. It had a lot of callbacks to Hollywood because now the Minions are in Hollywood. So that was a lot of fun. George Lucas literally did a cameo in it, which I was not expecting. Enjoyable kids movie. I gave it a 3 just because I feel like even within movies that are purely made for kids, there are levels. And this wasn't really trying to be deeper, but it also I think that kind of counts towards it because it's not like it tried and failed. It just didn't try, but also did what it was trying to do perfectly fine. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I still think Despicable Me, the original, is the best out of all of them.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
From what I remember, because I saw it when I was a kid, but from what I remember, that one was the best out of all of them.
That was the movie that got you into filmmaking.
Exactly. I was walking around as a little kid doing the Gru voice.
I can hear it perfectly.
Right? Children. Anyways, I got to ask you now, have your music experiences improved at all?
Well, David, they haven't.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected.
I have been listening to the birds sing and celebrate the death of Lindsey Graham today because that happened on the day we're recording.
As we all should.
Yes, exactly. And supposedly Mitch McConnell's alive, so who knows? By the time this episode comes out, he may not be, or he may have been confirmed to have been dead for the past few months. But we'll see. I did listen to 5 albums today. None of them were good, and I don't want to talk about any of them because I don't like talking shit about bad music, despite what we do on this podcast sometimes. It still just makes me depressed for the future of music. So on that note, let's talk about something way better, because this is Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, the second album by Ethel Cain, released August 8th, 2025, by her independent label, Daughters of Cain Records and AWOL. It was preceded by two singles, Nettles in June and Fuck Me Eyes in July. David, I have to start off the line of questioning today with, have you heard of Ethel Cain before?
Never. I mean, I've heard of her from you, but I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know any of her music, and I also did not know what style it was going to be going into this. So I was very interested.
Ethel Cain is Hayden Silas Anhedonia. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Born and raised in northern Florida. She was raised Baptist, but has since left the church, although in some interviews has said she still believes in God. Singing in church was her biggest musical influence growing up, and she cites a bunch of Christian singers among her biggest influences. She came out as a trans woman when she was 20 and is also autistic, so major shout out there. You know I love my autistic artists. She was also kind of an edgelord in her teenage years, posting not so great things online, and she got into a feud with Lana Del Rey, which I genuinely don't understand what's going on there, so my apologies, but that's a whole thing, because Lana Del Rey does kind of make similar music to her, but worse, I would say. Worse than Ethel Cain. Anyway, that's a conversation for a future episode. Cain has developed a cult following after the release of her third EP, Inbred, in 2021, which was released by her then newly formed independent label, Daughters of Cain Records. This is where things get a little weird, because she's signed to publishing with Prescription Songs, which is owned by none other than Dr. Luke.
He's back.
Usually, he keeps his publishing and record label people separate, but it should be noted that for Willoughby Tucker specifically, the A&Rs all come from Dr. Luke's new post-allegations label, Amigo Records, which... ... Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Willoughby Tucker is her second album after Preacher's Daughter, released in 2022. The story of Preacher's Daughter is set in 1991, and it follows the character of Ethel Cain's life as she deals with the generational trauma of growing up religious in the South. She said that the so-called Ethel Cain cinematic universe will have 3 albums: Preacher's Daughter, Preacher's Wife, and Mother of a Preacher, although I'm not sure the status of any of these, outside of the one that's released. And she also said that she would like to write novels and make a film set in the universe. Why am I telling you all of this about her last album? That's because her second album, that we are covering, Willoughby Tucker, I'll Always Love You, is actually a prequel to her debut album.
Whoa.
It follows Ethel's teenage years and her relationship with the character Willoughby Tucker, set in the year that, quote, everything changed forever, 1986. It originated as B-sides to Preacher's Daughter, but somewhere in the creative process became its own album. Also, in January 2025, she released the standalone EP, Perverts, which was not an EP as it was 9 tracks and 89 minutes long.
Oh my God.
It is in the genre drone music, which is like, what if we played and held a few notes over the course of 9 minutes? It is very experimental and an acquired taste, and I think there are elements of the style that she started on Perverts present on this album, which is why I brought that up specifically. This album has elements of Americana, folk, pastoral music, and dream pop / shoegaze. But this is mostly a slowcore album. Slowcore is a genre of indie rock that borrows a lot from dream pop and shoegaze, but is focused more on slow tempos and sparse composition, which I think you can see both of those on this album. And I have to ask, what were your expectations going in, especially since I told you to listen to this in full with the lights down low?
Well, you told me 2 things. You told me, A, to listen to it that specific way. You said, close your eyes, turn the lights off, and just like take it in. And then you also told me that I was not going to like it. So,
well, I didn't say you weren't going to like it. I said, I don't think you're going to like it because it's very long, but I hoped otherwise.
So based off that, I kind of was like, this might not be for me. But I wasn't sure what the style was going to be, honestly. And I will say I have surprised you before.
This is true.
So I kind of was like, I'll just go with the flow and see what happens.
I do want to ask you, did you listen to this with the lights down low?
I did.
Okay, nice.
You would be proud of me.
I am proud. The album received critical acclaim upon its release and made it onto many best albums of 2025 lists, including Uncultured Pop Culture's Best of 2025. Yes, you may remember I ranked this as the 6th best album of 2025. Instead, it was the best example of Southern Gothic themes in music I had ever heard. I also said this might have been the most inaccessible album on my list because of its pace, and that is the exact reason I chose it for this season. And I was curious what you would think about it.
I mean, it is crazy long considering how many songs there are. There's 10 songs and it's over an hour. So that definitely was surprising. It's interesting because it also, the way it works, it's kind of like the more the album goes, the longer the songs are too.
And I should point out, last week we did a 10-song album that was over an hour. This week we were also doing a 10-song album that is more over an hour. I believe it's an additional 8 minutes longer.
Yeah.
I think it's 1 hour and 13 if I'm remembering off the top of my head. Willoughby Tucker peaked at number 1 on the American Independent Albums chart and number 14 on the Billboard 200. Obviously, as I mentioned before, I really like this album. I am a proponent of listening to albums from front to back for the first time I hear them, but rarely do I return to albums as a whole unit. This is one of the few that I do, save for my favorite song on here, which I did spoil on last year's episode. I don't know if you went back and listened, but I'm not giving you any hints until we get to it. The album was mixed by Ethel Cain and mastered by Matthew Tomasi. I don't know if that's how you say his name. My apologies. I said your favorite song on here will be Willoughby's theme, and your least favorite will be Tempest. You will give the album a low 3.5. And I do have a bit of a disclaimer before we get into this. There is a lot of lore around this album. It follows a story, and each lyric contributes to that story. And as I was writing out my notes, I couldn't help but feel like I disliked the album the more I read about it. And I realized something that I haven't been able to articulate, which is that I don't think I actually care about what a song is truly about. I would like to have my own interpretation formed through hearing the music itself. This isn't to say there's no place for an artist or their fans to break down and interpret every word of a song. I think it's just not something I like, and I feel that it ruins a very pure experience of hearing music and finding the meaning through it. I will be reading the background information about each song when available, but I'm not going to be going as in-depth on the story side of every lyric as I'm sure many of her fans would like. If you are interested, all of this information is out there. She is a very public and also secretive person, so it's kind of hard to find some of this information, but once you find sources for it, it is all there. Obviously, there's a whole other album that fits into this universe that came out before this, so how this ties into that album has been long theorized and all of that. But with that, it's time for track number 1, Janie, written by Ethel Cain and Matthew Tomasi and produced by Ethel Cain. She said about this song, Ethel's story begins the summer she turns 16, when her best friend gets a boyfriend. As Janie is Ethel's only real friend, she fears this marks the end of their relationship as she knows it, where Ethel had her best friend all to herself. Her insecurities led her to provocation, claiming Janie should just rip the Band-Aid off and be done with Ethel. I will probably repeat this, but the way this song builds is heavenly. The feeble voice for the first verse, followed by the high harmonies in the chorus, and the big bass in the bridge directly after. It feels like the way a thunderstorm builds, which I think I've said, or I'm going to say multiple times on this album. I think this is a great opener to the album. There's a fragile beauty present on all of these songs that I feel like few other artists can capture. There's also a deep sadness present, which you know I love. This is a 4. I'm very curious what you will think about this.
It's a very specific style. It's very dreamy. Ethel Cain definitely has a very interesting vocal quality. When I was listening to Janie, I was thinking it falls into the category of the artists where their voice will kind of make it or break it for you in some ways. But I do like the slow and moody style. It's not my favorite, and I don't know how much it is for me, but I feel like this is the type of music that I can't really understand until I've listened to it a couple of times.
Ah, interesting.
I wanted more variety, I think. And that's something that I definitely stuck with me throughout the album. Not to spoil things, but I mean, just knowing me, I wanted more from a lot. So we are starting off with a 3. When a lot of these songs would end, I kind of didn't know what to fully think. And I think because this is something that's very hard for me to wrap my head around, if that makes any sense. At least on a first listen, because I did only listen to it once. Well, and it's very heady too.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore and there's a lot to kind of unpack in all of the songs. And I do want to make a comment about your comment that you wanted more from these songs. This is kind of the reason I chose this album, because it's super long and it's kind of unchanging.
Yes.
I feel like this is a good challenge for you as a music listener, because it's so slow and so long and it takes forever for anything to happen, that I really wanted you to, like, you know, test your boundaries.
Well, and to that point, I feel like this is something where like I said, I would need to listen to it, and it would be something for me to like see where my boundaries are, see how I can grow listening to music in some ways.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like, and not to get ahead of ourselves, but my scores are kind of on the lower side, but they are very consistent.
Okay.
And I think they're consistent in a way that I am consistent with indie music. And I think a large part of this is me like hearing a new style for the first time and not understanding it fully.
It is weird.
It is weird. And I feel like it's one of the styles that's harder to get into, you know, when you're just starting out.
That's why we're doing it on season 2.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's why like it was just really interesting getting into the album and listening to it. I kind of just want to ruin something, but I don't want to like get ahead of ourselves.
You can't.
Okay. I won't say what it is. You guys will see when we reach the end of the album what I meant about my scores pretty much.
Oh, okay. I did choose 3.5 because I was thinking you would say this reminds me of indie albums. That's why specifically I chose that, and I said low 3.5 because I was like, I could do a 3, which is more what I was thinking, but I was like, it is indie. Like, it's got that indie effect, I think, to it a little bit.
It does have it.
Moving on to track number 2, Willoughby's Theme, written by Ethel Cain and produced by Ethel Cain and Matthew Tomasi. Cain said on Instagram, Willoughby's Theme is my favorite track on the album, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Perverts exist solely because Matthew Tomasi and I made that track first. I wanted to try and sonically capture the nauseating, dizzying fear and rush of falling in love and realizing that no matter what happens inside it, you will be fundamentally changed by it in the end. That still rings true to me now. I wrote, it's piano time.
It is.
My favorite of the 3 instrumentals on here, it builds so beautifully and feels like the end of the world. It's like a pit of despair or a tornado, but there's a warmth present that's hard to put into words. Maybe the most ethereal song on here, the most haunting, I don't know, I'm running out of adjectives. The color brown was a great choice for the album art. This song feels like it. This is a perfect 5.
Whoa.
I love music.
You do. I don't know why I'm surprised. I was going to ask, does the name of the song, and in some ways the name of the title, have any reference? Like, what is Willoughby a reference to? Is it a reference to Sense and Sensibility?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Maybe it is. But Willoughby Tucker is the character that Ethel Cain is in love with. The character Ethel Cain.
I see.
Because it's hard to separate. Ethel Cain is the artist name. Ethel Cain is the character present on these. Hayden is the person behind the music. Mm-hmm. But she also doesn't always go by her real name. She goes by Ethel sometimes. So it's very confusing to figure out like how to talk about the character that's present in these songs, because it is a character.
Gotcha.
But yes, Willoughby Tucker is who she's in love with.
I fully thought that there was some connection to Sense and Sensibility.
Honestly,
I was just like, oh, that's probably
I really don't know. She drew
Who knows?
inspiration from all over the place, and I'll mention it at one point on here too. Twin Peaks is a huge source of inspiration.
Ooh, which I love.
This album as well. Yes.
Wait, no, wait, take that out. I haven't seen it. I meant to say I'm a big David Lynch fan.
You can say that then.
That's what I meant to say. I love David Lynch.
It is your turn to speak about this song.
It definitely takes a turn in some way. I feel like with the piano and all that from the last song, there is definitely a reason why this album is an album. It's an album, not a like singles album for sure. And it feels very cohesive in a lot of ways. And I feel like you can feel that across the whole album, even going from like one song to another. I feel like Janie is more successful. I kind of wanted more of a melody from this. A little bit more clarity in a way, but kind of to what I said before, this is still sitting at a 3. And I think that's where the indie effect really started to come in, because it all felt like it was at a certain level and didn't really fluctuate like down at all.
This is all part of the challenge for you to listen, because there is no melody on some of these songs. It's just like a vibe. It's literally a theme.
That also, I don't know, it's interesting that that is true, but like I didn't rate it lower considering what we know about me.
I mean, yeah, but also I do think you've grown as a listener.
That's true.
Because if I gave this to you in episode 4 or 5 of the podcast, this probably would have been sub 2, I would assume.
Probably.
I guess that's we've made some progress there. But I also did want to say that I feel like a lot of these songs have a very cinematic quality to them, which I think is also part of something that you would enjoy. So maybe that's part of the reason why it's stuck at a 3 instead of something lower.
Yeah, that's very true. And that is something that I will talk about with some specific songs later on as well.
I did choose this to be your favorite song. It's not, I can tell.
But we'll get there.
Do you go higher than a 3 for your favorite?
I do, yes.
Do you go lower than a 3 for your least favorite?
I mean, I didn't want to spoil it. This was what I was referencing before, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there.
We will. Track number 3, Fuck Me Eyes. Written and produced by Ethel Cain. This was the second single, released July 2nd, 2025. It is insane to be talking about this album before it's been a year that it's been out. Like, this episode is even going to come out before it's been a year that the album's been out. So that is pretty cool. This is like the most recent album we've done.
That's true. That's a good point.
So this song is about Holly Reddick, a classmate of Willoughby's whom Ethel is jealous of. I could be telling you paragraphs about the lore of this song, but I'm choosing not to because I also don't want to ruin it for other people who are like me, you know? You can read the lore if you want. It's interesting, but ultimately I will be continuing to listen to the album and making my own narrative.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm annoying. Hayden said about this song, Fuck Me Eyes is a song I wrote a while ago, back before I ever left Florida for the first time. I wrote it on an acoustic guitar, and it was just this little plucky thing. And I just kind of like writing a song about a girl or something. You know, my favorite 80s pop song of all time is Betty Davis Eyes. And I always thought that was the most beautiful song ever growing up. And we covered it last year on tour, kind of as like a teaser almost for this song. But I revisited it, and I didn't actually write this with the intention of going on with it. I feel like every record needs one good big pop song just for fun. I also liked this genius annotation. Holly is desired but not respected. Boys sexualize her, but likely mock or degrade her for the same reason. This dynamic mirrors the complexity common in conservative or patriarchal cultures, where girls like her are seen as less than, even as they're pursued. This thus alludes to Cain's common themes of generational trauma here. Her mom's genes could symbolically represent a pattern of women in her family being reduced to their bodies, caught in similar cycles of sexualization and neglect. She is both inheriting and rewriting that legacy by choosing to make herself visible, whether or not it costs her dignity in the eyes of others. I also chose a few lines that I loved from this song. They say she looks just like her mama before the drugs. Great line. And regarding the line, they all want to take her out, but no one ever wants to take her home. Cain said, this is where Ethel finally finds common ground with Holly. It's the thing they both can relate to. Goosebumps, my favorite vocal performance of her career. You can really see her pop melodies here, and you know I love a good pop song. Another insane build that feels more like a cry for help that's being drowned out by everything happening around the main character, Holly. Yeah, this one goes crazy, 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, the pop forward elements really do stand out, even though I feel like the balance is still really well done between the elements that are more pop forward and the elements that are distinctly Ethel Cain style. And on some level, it does work a little better for me, maybe because like there is something more of a melody in some fashion. This is closer to 3.5. It's still a 3, and I think why is because there are some other songs that have maybe some of that like pop element in it, but I don't know, they have something else in it that just make them stand out in a specific way. It's kind of hard to talk about. I feel like this is a hard album to talk about in general, but they stand out to me more than this song does. That being said, out of all the songs that could go up, this is one of them that I could see going up to 3.5 at some point.
This one did go up for me. I think I originally had it at a 4, and upon this re-listen, it's up to a 4.5. And I should note that my favorite song and the previous Willoughby's theme both went up to a 5, which they were both 4.5s before last year when I was listening to this album for my year end. So I think ultimately I still feel pretty good about where it sits among the albums of the year last year, but it did improve. Track number 4, Nettles, written and produced by Ethel Cain. This was the lead single released June 4th, 2025. A song about the anxiety Ethel feels, wondering about all the different ways she could lose the love of her life. It was originally a demo posted to her SoundCloud in 2021, but nothing was heard about it for many years. She said about this song, the whole song kind of flows in and out of reality and fantasy. Instead of laying me down amongst the flowers or, a soft bed of grass, it's laying me down where the greenery stings. I can't hide this from you. I can't hide what I've been through. This is all going to come out. Ethel's kind of sympathizing with the nettles and saying, I can hear them singing. To love me is to suffer me. It's like to love me, to be here with me, and vice versa. To be with you, it's to suffer me, to suffer this time. One of the key themes of this record is that she, desperate to be loved, doesn't necessarily see Willoughby the way he is, because she sees him as what she needs him to be. And so, she sees him as being this tough guy who just doesn't let anything affect him, and she wants to be like that. She wants to be tough. She wants to be hard so that she can stop getting hurt. It's men who will go out and they get to show their anger. They'll get to be brash and violent, or however they want to show it. They get to explode with their anger, and this is what she's projecting onto him. She's imagining him getting to be free. The expectations of her are that she'll just retreat because she's not afforded the same luxury of going out and making her pain the rest of the world's problem. I guess I do have some long quotes about about what the songs are about in here. I kind of forgot about that.
I'm happy that you
This was still at the part where I was like, I want to talk about the songs more. But this is also not necessarily explaining the story. It's more about like what the song's about overall, So
exactly.
I don't know. There's a fine line there, and I don't know. I cross it sometimes. The synthesizers in the intro, like a lot of the synths on this album, are the same ones used on the score of Twin Peaks, which she said inspired a lot of this album. A beautifully sad, country-ish, folk-ish song that's so hard to describe. I'm going to say something that I will be persecuted for, but it reminded me of Stranger Things for some unknown reason.
Oh, they're coming after you now.
And you know what? I think that's their right, too. This is one of those songs where it's like, damn, country music is actually incredible, but no one makes shit like this. And in fact, no one really does make music like Ethel Cain, and it's a shame, but also fine with me because she might be the best to ever make this style. I gave this one a 4.
The country style does work for me quite a bit.
Oh.
I was kind of surprised, but like the laid backness of the style in some ways, even though obviously like it deals with a lot of heavy things, but I feel like the style itself is in some way more laid back. That does work for me. And I honestly feel like the Twin Peaks elements also really stand out and work. And I do mention them in another song as well. But I feel like that together made me really enjoy this song. And this is kind of a spoiler, but this is my first 3.5.
Nice. Track number 5, Willoughby's Interlude, written and produced by Ethel Cain. This is an instrumental that represents all the good and bad parts of Ethel and Willoughby's relationship. It interpolates parts of Willoughby's theme but makes them feel darker this time. I wrote, I really wonder if you're liking the album at this point. I hope you do.
Well, what do you think at this point?
I don't really know. I think you're liking it okay. This is kind of about what I thought when I chose to do this album this season. Whenever there's an album that I like, honestly, whenever there's an album, I'm just like, I hope David really likes this and is enjoying this. Sometimes I'm like, I hope you hate this as much as I do. But this was one of those ones where I was like, I hope you're enjoying it and at least getting something out of it. Because I feel like it's a style that you normally wouldn't listen to. And I feel like that's also important to me, to be expanding your mind.
Yes. And I mean, like I said before, this is definitely something that would need to grow on me. But I am getting stuff out of it. And I think that's the most important.
That is good.
And I am learning.
That makes me happy.
I think that's also very important.
I did write that this is another dark and stormy song that feels like the end of the world on a hot summer night. I also gave this one a 4. We're very consistent, I must say, for both of us.
This song is another song that really brought Twin Peaks to mind for me. I feel like, again, there are a lot of those elements in there. And out of all the songs, I feel like this song maybe stands out the most to me as something that sounds like a movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that does really work for me. And this would have been a 3.5 if not for the end, because for some reason the end just didn't really work for me. Like the little shift.
Where it modulates into Dust Bowl, yeah.
Yeah. In some ways, ironically, the fact that it was all kind of on one wavelength was something that I really liked with the song. And I wanted it to keep that in some ways. But it's still a 3. And honestly, I feel like the song could go up as I get used to the shift. Because I could totally see myself just listening to this like while I'm writing.
And also, this is an interlude, so it's meant to be listened to on the album. So, I don't mind that it goes into the next song because it is supposed to be a transitional period,
I feel like I could get used to that because when I listened to it, it kind of took me out because I was like, wait a second, did it go to the next song?
It is weird, and that happens again with Radio Towers into Tempest as well. So I'm sure we'll have this same discussion then. But
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I like it as a full album too because it just feels like it's meant to be together, which
it does. Yeah,
that's what I love when an album feels like an album. Track number 6, Dust Bowl, written by Canon Dove Amber, Clay Parton, and Ethel Cain, and produced by Ethel Cain, and it samples Stars Will Fall by Duster, which is where the other two writers come from. I ended up listening to that song for the first time today. Very good, and I didn't realize how much of Dust Bowl is built off of that song. It's a lot. Dust Bowl is a song about the good parts of the relationship, although it was pretty much doomed from the start. Both Ethel and Willoughby continue to hurt each other and be toxic throughout the song, which I think results in a beautiful character study. A slow and hazy song that feels somewhere between a dream and a nightmare, maybe some sort of vision from the past that haunts you. That chorus melody at the end of each phrase is insane. You were, is what I wrote down. I don't know how to say it without saying it, which I'm not going to do.
I feel like that's the best way to say it, probably.
Maybe my favorite moment of the album. The instrumental break after the first chorus feels like listening to the wind chimes during a thunderstorm. I wrote down the lyric, grew up hard, fell off harder, cooking our brains, smoking that shit your daddy smoked in Vietnam. And then the huge guitar and kick hit that sounds like being killed. Fucking incredible. And then I also wrote down the lyric, but when you said that you're in love, I never wondered if you're sure. I don't know what else to say. Perfect 5. This is my favorite on the album, and this is up there on my all-time favorites list.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, I do quite like the production of this, but I feel like this does just go too long, honestly. Not to rain on your parade.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because I have a feeling if your favorite song is one of the last 2 songs, I'm going to say it goes on too long, but
hey,
we'll get there.
We, not to spoil it, but we will kind of be trading, I guess, then.
I did want to say, I didn't think you would like this song because there's these heavy guitars.
Yeah.
And I also felt that way about Tempest, which is why I chose it as your least favorite, because it's longer and there's longer, heavy, kind of metal-ish guitars there.
That definitely is something that, made this not work as well. Again, it's still like a 3.5. It stays on that level.
Okay, I'm not mad at it being a 3.5 then at all.
Sorry.
Oh.
3. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to rain on your parade. I misspoke. I was thinking about another song.
Fuck you.
I'm so sorry. But hey, the fact that it's still on a 3 and it's still staying on that level, I think speaks to something.
I guess so. Your 3.5 pissed me off now. I take it this is not your favorite. Is this your least favorite, though?
No. I did not choose. I could not choose the least favorite, honestly.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, interesting. I also didn't choose the least favorite until I realized that there's a song that I'm often I think I can go on my phone at this point in the album.
It's Tempest, isn't it?
It's not.
It's not. Oh.
Track number 7, A Knock at the Door, written and produced by Ethel Cain. Hayden said about this song, instead of loving him as a person, Ethel imagines Willoughby as a 2-dimensional white knight. You have to be careful with the pedestal that you put someone on. That's a very big life lesson that Ethel learns, or doesn't learn. I learned that lesson through her. This song deconstructs what Ethel thought of Willoughby, and she realizes that he actually is a real person who's equally as broken as her. I wrote down the line, everything I've loved it straight to death, so I'm still scared of that knock on the door. There's a few lines in here that I didn't I heard them and I was like, that's really nice. And then I actually was paying attention to them and I was like, holy shit, that's pretty great. I think I've underrated this song just because of what it follows, but goddamn, it's hauntingly beautiful. It's the type of hopeless, pathetic love where you're begging someone not to leave you because not only could you not survive without them, they couldn't survive without you, but they don't know it. The way this song decays at the end is also incredible. I gave this one a 4.5.
This song kind of stays on the same level to me in some ways, but this is one of the songs that could go up to 3.5. I feel like as it started, I was kind of I'm in the groove of the album, but in some ways it feels like this song grows in a way that I do quite like. And there are a lot of production elements in it that I do end up enjoying a little bit more. Plus, I think the vocal quality just works better. And honestly, originally I gave this a 3. I kind of feel like this should be a 3.5 though.
Hell yeah, do it.
I feel like it's moving up because, like, think about it. This felt like, to me, kind of like going a step up from Dust Bowl into the next section of the album, which, as we will see, is maybe a little section that works a little better for me.
This is very interesting.
As it gets longer,
yeah,
it works more.
I think after Radio Towers, I'm kind of like, all right, I get the idea. I don't know. That's kind of like where I usually end. And I also have to update everyone. I can see David typing on his computer right now to make sure that A Knock at the Door is, in fact, a 3.5.
Yeah. No, I'm updating it right now.
Track number 8, Radio Towers, written and produced by Ethel Cain. An instrumental song with the beeping of a heart monitor or beeping that mirrors the flashing red lights on the radio towers. Ugh, her mind. I'm not sure what to say about this one. I love it, and the imagery it creates without any words is incredible. I'm a music person first, so getting to focus solely on that part is one of the reasons why I love Ethel Cain. This is a 4.5 as well. And this song kind of like, I don't know how to even describe it. It kind of changed everything for me, and I was like, whoa, what if I just like make a song that just has like sounds in it, like just tones and notes?
It's a style I feel like isn't done very much, but if done right, can be really, really beautiful. And let me tell you, this brought to mind driving somewhere at night when everything is kind of in like a haze. It's like the last night of a road trip where you're like back in your city, but it's late. There's not that many people out, and you're just like in the vibe of the night, pretty much. That's what it brought to mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. I 100% agree, and this is why I love music so much. Just music straight up, no words. We get the same feeling from this song, and the fact that we do is just kind of incredible and a testament to like composition of music.
The fact that it can do that and do that for like everyone and give them all the same idea, I think is beautiful. And I think more songs should be written that are just music. This is a 3.5. This is my second favorite on the album.
Oh,
that's right.
And you didn't mind the little part where it modulates at the end either.
Nope.
Interesting.
I feel like it worked here for some reason. And let me tell you, this is something that I would absolutely put on while I'm writing. It has to be a very specific style of something I'm writing, but I would definitely put it on.
Track number 9, Tempest. I'm sensing a little bit of a theory here, but we'll get there. Written by Angel Diaz and Ethel Cain. Produced by Ethel Cain. The only song on the album written from Willoughby's perspective. A very beautiful song that for some reason has never stuck with me the same way others from the album have. This feels like the type of song that would play as they lift a body out of the water on a premium cable drama show set in a small town.
Yeah.
What other artist says forever for 4 minutes as an outro? No one. This is a 4 for me. Is this your favorite?
This fulfills track 9 theory.
Let's go. What is this, 3 weeks in a row now?
Literally, I'm going strong. I don't know what it is, but it has the style of the previous songs that, you know, is really interesting and feels reminiscent of Twin Peaks, and like is something that I can write to, which I do like. But it also kind of has like that development, if that makes any sense, and like that driving forward that I was missing from some of the songs. And I really like that. It has a great build to it. And then it also has that beat drop, which I really, really like.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a 3.5. This could go to a 4 in the future. And this is my favorite song on the album.
I feel like you're growing as a person for 2 reasons. We got some huge guitars in here, which is not something you usually like.
True.
And also, this song is 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
We are experiencing some changes live on air, people. This is insane.
That's right. See, season 2 is the season of changes, I feel like.
It really is.
Podcast. You haven't had a track 9 theory in forever. I've had like 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Like, which is stuff is happening.
It really is. And we have one final track. Number 10, Waco, Texas. Written by Ethel Cain and Matthew Tomasi and produced by Ethel Cain. Hayden said about this song, as Ethel and Willoughby fall in love, they find themselves blinded to the rest of the world for a while, captivated by each other and thinking that love could keep them safe. But eventually, the real world comes knocking and everything goes up in flames. I just like the parallels of their relationship in the events of the Branch Davidians. Ethel sees... Insane. Ethel sees him as being this beautiful, enamoring god, and she's deeply in love with him. But in the end, she realizes he's just a broken boy, and they're both too far gone. I don't know. It's just a corny little love drama that I'm way too deeply invested in, and I'm drawing lines in the sand trying to pair it with a 30-year-old cult siege. LOL. I don't get out much. I wrote 15 minutes. I hope you haven't lost your mind yet. I decided to split the album in 2 parts upon my second or third listen this week. I don't remember which one it was, because I always felt like I didn't understand this song in the way I wanted to, partly because of its length and partly because of how long the album is, and maybe my attention span is genuinely cooked. Ultimately, I do really enjoy this song, but it's the only one on here that feels too long. It's a little too unstructured in stream of consciousness for me to love it in the same way as the others. These last 2 songs are great, but they're both very long, and I don't think as interesting overall as Fuck Me Eyes or Nettles, which are 2 other very long songs from earlier that have vocals. And weirdly, it makes the album feel like it drags a bit at the end for me. Maybe I still do have a problem with long songs, but I think it's more that the melodies and structure of these last 2 don't do it for me as much. The outro, however, is great, and you know I love a good piano, with that giant cloud of reverb behind it. In case I haven't mentioned this at any point during the episode, I love reverb. It might be my favorite part of music production, and if I could put it on every instrument, I would. Sadly, this song is my least favorite on the album, but it is still a 3.5, which is a very good score. What did you think about this last 15-minute and 15-second masterpiece on this long-ass album?
I completely agree about the length, ironically. This is a song that does go on for too long. Even though I do quite like the style, it does work for me. But at some point, it's too much. And it was also daunting going into it, seeing 15 minutes next to the name of the song on Spotify. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, just kind of sad that like it does become too much, because in some ways it kind of feels closer to an indie song. And I feel like if it was shorter, it would work, much better.
I was totally invested up until like 8.5 minutes. And then at that point, I was kind of like, all right, we're on verse 4 now. I don't know. I'm kind of losing it.
And we're only halfway there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think if this was a 10-minute long song, it could work for me.
Which ironically, Tempest is a 10-minute long song, right?
That is true.
I think this would definitely work much better for me. Yeah, as it stands, it's at a 3.
Okay. We end the album on a similar note. Is this your least favorite? Do you want to just say it is?
You know what?
Or not?
I'll just throw it in there. I'll say it's my least favorite.
Let's do it.
On the same page.
Let's have the same least favorite for, I think, the first time this season.
That's true.
We have reached the end of the album, though. And I have to say, I think this is her best album so far. And I love the world it creates. I'm sorry for not going insanely deep on the lore of every song, but the fact that it's there and you can engage with that if you like that sort of thing is awesome. She is a very autistic-coded artist in the best way possible, and I hope that when I start my artist project that I can develop worlds like she does. I'm not going to tell you my score, because I want to hear yours first, and I want to hear if this did manage to make it to a 3.5 at the end.
I am sad for your sake to say that this is just a high 3.
That's all right.
But a high 3 is close to a low 3.5.
That is true.
As I said before, like quite a few of these songs are songs that I do see growing on me in the future. And that would mean that the overall album would also grow on me.
I gave this album a 4.5, and I am giving it the tag, "This is a religious experience," which is the first time I've used it this season. I didn't use it last season. This was a new invention that I made for season 2, but I haven't had an album to put it to yet. Yeah. But there's at least one more and maybe 2 more coming this season. I have to ask you the important questions, though. Will you add any of these songs to playlists? And will you return to this album as a whole?
I will not add songs to playlists because I feel like this is not that type of album, honestly. I would return to it as a whole. I would probably
skip Waco, Texas.
Well, yeah, I feel like I would return to sections of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would return to the sections that sound more like soundtracks, honestly, or that are more just music forward, because those are my favorite sections. And like I said, I would honestly like to write to those. Especially the ones that reminded me of Twin Peaks and that sort of thing. So yeah, I will be definitely returning to sections. And as parts of it grow, maybe I will be returning to the whole thing. Who knows?
I hope you do, just Like maybe if it's only one time every few years, because I do feel like this is an album where it's kind of like 22 a Million by Bon Iver, where it's just like it's there when I need it, and I don't often need it, but when I do, it still hits as much as it did the first time, which I love.
I can absolutely see that. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a fan of Ethel Cain now?
I feel like I need to listen to more. I'm undecided. And I think I need to see where my relationship with this style takes me.
We got another album to listen to. We have an EP that's longer than this somehow.
That's crazy.
And we also have a shorter
do a
EP.
crackdown on people calling stuff
Genuinely,
EPs.
thank you.
Some EPs are just not EPs.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Words have lost meaning, and I hate it.
Yes.
Because words do have meaning. And I feel very passionately about this as a former English major. And I have one final question for you. What do you think of this pairing?
I think it's honestly a good pairing, not because they fit stylistically necessarily, although I think there is some overlap, but more because they are very like specific and idiosyncratic in their own ways. That they're both in very particular genres and very particular themselves in how they do stuff. And it is sort of a situation where either you're going to really like it and understand it, or you're not going to get it and you're not going to like it. Now, the question is, will we like the movie?
That is the question, but I do have to say I did not like this pairing, unfortunately.
Oh.
I did ask you for a white trash Southern Gothic movie, so instead we are watching a movie about a young black girl, which is very different because this is kind of a white trashy album in a way. Not like
True.
To be, I don't mean that in like a mean way, but that is like the characters that we're following. You know, they're on drugs, they're poor, and they've been forgotten by everyone else.
Ironically, I just came across another movie that's kind of like a white trash, like Southern Gothic movie that we could have watched instead.
Damn.
But
anyway,
I mean,
I did tell myself that we are seeing two different sides of the Southern experience in the 20th century, which I don't know, softened it a little, but I still want a white trash movie. On that note, we have a non-white trash movie to talk about now, which is
Eve's Bayou, which is a Southern Gothic drama. I want to read the description of Southern Gothic, at least the description of Southern Gothic that Wikipedia offers. Because it's a genre we haven't really covered before, and it's a genre that isn't very common. It's a very, very, very like small subgenre. But Southern Gothic is an artistic subgenre of fiction, music, film, theater, and television that is heavily influenced by Gothic elements and set in the American South. Southern Gothic fiction highlights violence and cruelty as features of Southern culture, often through characters whose place in the social order exposes them to such treatment. Common motifs include racism, gender, sexual difference, poverty, and disability. I feel like it's kind of important to like talk about the genre before I talk about the movie because like it's a very specific genre, and I feel like there's very specific styles within that, and it's not one that a lot of people come across. So I felt like it was important to get it out there.
I think also it retroactively is a great descriptor for the album because we do see that on the album as well.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe that's what kind of makes it fit. But yes, Eve's Bayou is a Southern Gothic drama from 1997. Let's talk about the logline, the IMDb logline, which, like the movie in some ways, is very idiosyncratic and specific. So here we go. What did little Eve see, and how will it haunt her? Husband, father, and womanizer Louis Baptiste is the head of an affluent family, but it's the women who rule this Gothic world of secrets, lies, and mystic forces.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's very like stylistic.
It is. I don't think a logline should be stylistic. That's my hot take. I think it should tell you what the movie's about, and it kind of does. But
I do agree. It does in a way.
In a way.
That being said, though, it's kind of impossible to say what this movie is about, like concisely.
There's a lot of stuff going on,
and it's hard to like condense it down to one sentence or even two. I feel like. But the film is written and directed by Casey Lemmons. It's produced by Caldecott Chubb, Samuel L. Jackson, Mark Amin, and Nick Wechsler. Apologies for all the names I'm probably mispronouncing. The cinematography is by Amy Vincent. It's edited by Terrelyn A. Shropshire. The music is by Terrence Blanchard, and it's distributed by Trimark Pictures. And, of course, it is rated R. It stars Journey Smollett, Lynn Whitfield, Debbie Morgan, Megan Good, Samuel L. Jackson, and many others. And I will say, this is probably one of the few movies where Sammy J does not say motherfucker or mother something, which is, of course, is his catchphrase. Is that his catchphrase? That's his catchphrase, right?
I mean, kind of. I think that was popularized by Pulp Fiction, though, right? He says it
True.
How many times in the movie? Like 100?
100. And he says it like in every movie since, I think, or something like that. But anyways.
That seems right. Yeah. He even says it in Star Wars.
Literally. But let's talk about the background. I don't have much, to be honest. This is an independent film. It's also quite a small film. And of course, people don't really talk about smaller films. The story of the film starts with the writer and director Casey Lemmons, who in 1993 was better known as an actress than a director. She had never directed anything before this film. This was her directorial debut. But she had appeared in films such as School Days, Vampire's Kiss, and Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs.
I've heard of one.
So she'd been in, a lot of projects. Yeah. Well, and School Days is one of Spike Lee's films.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or Joints as they're stylized. And so, yeah, she, was known as an actress. And she started working on the script in 1993, even though it first kind of originated as a series of short stories rather than one overall story. As she said, quote, it originated as a series of short stories and the children were the first layers in the short stories, end quote. And she was inspired by childhood trips to Louisiana, saying that she, quote, wanted to write a story about people who were like royalty in a small town. Louisiana has a unique history in the U.S. It is one of the only places where slaves could buy their freedom. Even in the 1700s, there were free people of color who had citizenship because the state was owned by the French, end quote. And while it's not specifically autobiographical, it does have pieces of her family, and she noted that writing the screenplay was very therapeutic. And I have another quote from her. Quote, at the core of Eve, it's me and my childhood and wrestling with how powerful I was as a child. How did I fight my way through uncomfortable situations and the distress that I felt, end quote. Which I feel like you can see in the film. She did have a lot of trouble finding interest from studios and directors, though. She and Caldecott Chubb, who was kind of the main producer. And eventually they were like, you know what? Casey was like, I'm just going to direct it because we can't find anyone that's interested in directing, much less producing. And they eventually got help from Samuel L. Jackson. He read it, loved it, and decided to step in both as an actor and as a producer. And he helped it get made in a lot of ways. And he was drawn to the character because he said that he didn't get to play a lot of these types of characters. People that were, a family guy who is, three-dimensional and has faults and all that type of stuff.
Low-key evil.
Yeah, in some ways, evil. We'll talk about it. But eventually with Trimark, which is an independent film company, financing, they went into production and shot in Louisiana. And they shot in the Otis House Museum in the Fairview Riverside State Park. And that served as the Batiste family.
I was wondering if it was shot in Louisiana because it has a very specific look that I felt like this looks like it could only be Louisiana.
Yeah, kudos to them for actually shooting there because I think it adds to like, the vibes of it. And it makes it feel very very specific.
We are very big fans of shooting on location, especially when that location is the location of the movie.
Exactly.
Paper Moon shot in Kansas, incredible. This shot in Louisiana, it makes it a character in the story, which is like, you can't replace that. You can't replicate it anywhere else on a studio lot or whatever.
Yeah, and that's why it never works when Ohio looks like Los Angeles in your movie, or vice versa. Film in Los Angeles more too. If you're setting your films in Los Angeles, people, please.
Yeah, but also, what if we don't set our movies in Los Angeles? I don't know. Hot take by me.
Do you want to destabilize the film industry even more?
If you want to put that all on me, then I guess so. But unfortunately, I think that is going to be caused by Paramount moving their headquarters out of California.
Yeah. Oh God.
Another great David leading a company.
Well, hey, I am leading, or I guess I'm co-leading this podcast pretty well.
I would say yes.
You do more work than I do, so I feel like you're the main CEO.
You can be COO. That's fine with me. You can be a C-suite executive. I think we both are. C for co-pilot.
Ooh, I like that. But I mean, that's literally all I have.
Oh, wow.
With the background. Like there just is not that much. Yeah. So let's talk about the release. It came out November 7th, 1997, and it actually became the biggest independent film of 1997. It grossed $14.8 million, which is crazy that that's the biggest film.
That is crazy,
independent film. And it grossed that on a budget of $3 to $4 million. So it was a success.
That's a success, yeah.
Yeah. And it received positive reviews from critics. And most importantly, Roger Ebert, who is probably the most famous critic out there, he praised the film particularly and actually named it as the best film of 1997. And his review helped to raise awareness about the film, actually. Like, he kind of got the word out about this film. Even though it's still, like, not very well known, that definitely helped. And now it's considered to be not only the most successful independent film, or one of them of the 90s, but also it's considered to be one of the best examples of and a masterpiece in the Southern Gothic genre by many. Even though, ironically, it's still kind of not that well known, but I would say that's more just because the genre is also just not very well known. It's also notable for subverting a lot of the mainstream 90s depictions of African American life, as it focuses on a wealthy bourgeoisie and highly complex African American family, kind of moving away from a lot of the more, for lack of a better word, typical depictions, and showing that there are other types of stories to be told. And my last note, in 2018, the Library of Congress selected the film to be preserved in the National Film Registry as being, quote, culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, end quote.
That's crazy.
We've never done the genre before. So I kind of wanted to know, how do you feel this compares to, like, anything else we've done before? How is it different?
Anything else?
Yeah, because we've never done the genre
in the history
before.
of the podcast.
Or at least, is there anything that feels close to this, or does it feel totally distinct?
I mean, I think it feels pretty distinct. It's different because it's Southern Gothic, but it's also very melodramatic, which I was not expecting. You know, it's like a heightened reality almost. Yeah, I think that's very different from other things we've done before, for better or for worse. We will find out shortly.
And, well, we'll find out right now, because does it work for you? I have a feeling that...
Yeah, you want to take a guess?
I think this was like a 2 for you, honestly.
Very, very good assumption. No, this does not work for me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I wanted to like this. I don't. I'm sorry. I like Southern Gothic. I like that as a theme. I don't think melodrama works, though. I think ultimately that's what it comes down to. I wrote a very tiny paragraph here as well. I can say that maybe I would like this if I saw it when I was a kid, but I know that that is just me coping and trying to understand why everyone loves this. I think I actually hate melodrama, I wrote. And I also said that watching this movie gave me a similar feeling to The Bling Ring, where no matter what happened, I could not bring myself to care about it, which is not a good sign, usually. I will reserve my score for now, because I do want to hear what you think about this movie, and if this is a perfect 5, because I do have a feeling that there's always one of these dark horse movies where I'm like, I didn't like this, and you're like, this is one of the greatest things ever, and I don't know if it's going to happen here.
Well, okay. Putting that to the side, what do you think I thought about it?
I think you'll like it. I think I mean, you like stories about young kids. Mm-hmm. I think you're drawn to this age and this kind of like era, I guess, of figuring out who you are. I mean, I know you like Gothic themes, so I think you'll enjoy that. I don't know how the like voodoo magic kind of stuff will work for you, and how those like kind of weird intercut black and white scenes will work, because for me, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how well it worked for you as well, and how well the filmmaking overall worked for you.
Okay, let me first approach the filmmaking. I think it's actually really beautifully shot. I like the style of it a lot of ways. The black and white vision parts, it was interesting. I don't know if it fully like got what it was trying to do to me, but I did really I liked how it looked, and I liked a lot of the feelings that it evoked. It felt very moody in a way, which I do like. And obviously that's like the Gothic part of it. So that did work for me a lot. The part that worked less, I feel like, is the story and kind of the way it's told. Like it is very interesting. And I was always engaged. But I felt like it was a little bit hard to care about a lot of the characters. Like I wanted it to go more in depth, and I wanted it to actually like explore things a little bit more. And I get that it's from the view of a girl and it's, approaching it like that. But I kind of felt like it was just a little hard for me to get like fully invested, which is interesting because you're absolutely right. Like this style can absolutely really work for me. I feel like I've seen some stuff that is similar to this and I've loved it. But I feel like I just need more here, just like a little bit. And you will see that reflected in my score. But I just wanted a little bit more. I just wanted to get into things a little bit more and have maybe a stronger like central narrative in a way.
I can see that for sure. It is kind of like muddied in a weird way, which I didn't really know how to talk about it.
It's a little bit hard to talk about. It's honestly a hard film to just talk about in general.
It's like there's a bunch of stuff happening. And I've talked about this before with movies where stuff happens and then it ends. And I hate that. This wasn't that though. Stuff happens and then it kind of culminates in a big like end set piece, which feels like it makes sense with everything else that's happened before. So in that like regard, I thought it worked. But overall, I could see that kind of like, I don't know, the fact that this started as a series of like short stories. Like I could definitely feel that in the screenplay.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I know I wanted something just a little bit more, even though like I said, a lot of it I did like, and I've seen stuff that is not similar like stylistically, but is similar in the sense that it's very specific, and that has really worked for me. I mean, I brought up Ravenous recently. They're very different in style, but that is also super specific and will not work for a lot of people, but I absolutely loved it. But that does have like maybe some of the elements that this didn't have, where it has that like strong narrative like engine that kind of made the quicker parts like work more cohesively. I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more. That being said though, this is still, and I'm giving out my score, but this is still a 3.
Oh, okay.
Because like I said, like a lot of it stylistically did work, and I did find a lot of it interesting. And to your point, this isn't the type of film where it doesn't really culminate in everything. It definitely does culminate in something, in the ending. And I think that's kind of what helps it to kind of get somewhere for me.
Yeah, it has a relatively satisfying ending.
Yes, I do agree with that. But now you got to tell me if I was right about the score that I said you would give it.
You are very close. This is a 1.5. I looked back at my scores of The Bling Ring and of Paths of Glory. I gave both of those a 2. I think I liked this movie better than both of them, but throughout its entirety, I was just kind of like not bought into anything. I felt like I was watching a movie in the worst way possible, almost. So I think the 1.5 kind of reflects more of my feelings towards watching it and experiencing it versus the actual movie itself. Although I also didn't really care for the actual movie itself. I will say, there were a few times when I was watching it where I was like, I feel like this is just a soap opera, and I don't like soap operas.
I can see that.
That's just a matter of like personal preference. That's just never been something I've enjoyed, and that's just kind of like, that's how it's going to be. Maybe there will be something that comes along where I give it a 2.5 or a 3 in that style, but like generally that type of acting, that type of writing, and that type of just like melodrama, I guess, just it just doesn't work for me. So yeah, sadly this is a 1.5. It does receive the tag, "This is why I don't watch movies." My apologies for that. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand this one, and I wanted to because and I also do want to give a shout out. I thought Journey Smollett actually did a very good job. She
does.
was a very good kid actor.
Yeah, I agree.
So I wanted to shout her out because I thought her performance was great. I thought overall the kids did a very good job.
You don't see that a lot, I feel like, especially with like independent films.
Exactly. There's always a weak link, but there wasn't really here among the kids.
And I will say, I feel like Journey Smollett stood out, and Debbie Morgan that plays the aunt. They kind of stood out to me.
Yes, I agree.
They both give really good performances. And I mean, I feel like part of that is also they have more to do.
I don't know. It was fine. Well, it's even pushing it a little bit. It was a movie.
Just look at your score.
Yeah, it was a movie. And at the end of the day, that is another week down. So.
And hey, I will say from my perspective, I give both the movie and the album the same score.
That is true.
Of course, I think the album can grow. I don't really think my opinion on the movie will change that much, but it works for me as a pairing right now.
I would like to point out I gave the movie a 1.5. I gave the album a 4.5. So I have a full David in between my scores between the movie and
Oh my
the
God.
music.
Hey, well, that's literally perfect. What can I say?
And that is a perfect way to end the episode. Guys, if you want more of the podcast, if you want us to keep making this, you don't want us to give up, you need to support the show on Spotify and Apple. I am begging you. Leave us a comment, leave us a review, leave us a rating. Tell us anything.
Just send us a damn email.
Comment the letter G if you're hearing this on the episode.
Just do it.
I don't know why. Just do it. Make sure you tell your friends and family, tell your enemies, and anyone you know who is from the American South. Pretty broad category. You have to know someone.
And come on, just email us. You don't even need a reason. Just do it. Just email us and say, hey, I'm emailing you because you told me to do that in
Exactly
this specific episode. And hey, if you want to email us about something specific, like maybe you're mad at us for our scores, go look at our letterbox. Go look at our writer musics. Go watch some fun content from Brandon on TikTok and YouTube. And if you want to know where you can find that, it's literally in our link tree in the description of this episode, and it's linked in our Instagram. So you should go and check that out to help us out just a little bit, guys.
Make sure you follow that Instagram, not only so you can find our link tree, but also so you can see what we are watching and listening to next. I have a little spoiler for you guys next week. Both works contain all of the colors of the rainbow. So with that, we will see you next week.
Bye.